Hello, here we go. It's the Kopite Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Kopite Podcast. I'm Matt, and this is Mick and Jay. How are you guys doing?
Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
All good,
Thanks for having us on.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the invite, mate.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's been a bit of a naughty few weeks in terms of injuries for Liverpool, hasn't it? And now we've got Leicester coming up, so we're going to preview that, aren't we, guys?
Yes.
Very good. So, I've written down a few key talking points. And we're going to get stuck in. So, Mo, COVID. And it seems like he got it because he went to his little brother's, or his big brother, who the hell he is, his wedding, and took his mask off, dancing and all that. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Is that to me? Is that to Mick?
Whoever goes first, speak louder.
Or forever hold your peace.
There you go.
I don't know. When I was watching Klopp's presser, he didn't really allude to it, did he? Really, he was sort of like quite coy about it. You could probably sense there's a tiny little bit of Klopp that was pissed off about the whole situation. But then Klopp did come up with an example of how he went to somewhere and stuff, and it's one of them, isn't it? Did he catch it from his brother's wedding? I don't know, but obviously he was photographed there, so is it a little bit of naivety on his part? There's a lot of people at the wedding. Is there more naivety that way? It's one of them, isn't it? I mean, he's coming back to the UK. If he comes back with a negative test when he gets back, then he should be okay and fit to play, and there shouldn't be an issue. So it should all just go out the window. As Tomo said, it's a joke. I don't know which part of it is a joke. Tomo, let us know what part of that is a joke. If COVID's a joke, or what, just let us know what's a joke, mate. Yeah, what's a joke. But Mick, anything to add on the Salah thing?
No, not really. I mean, if it's difficult, isn't it? Because if it's as like Klopp said, like in different countries, this type of thing means more to people. Like families are maybe more of a tight knit unit. So it's his brother's wedding. So like, I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it? Really. I mean, if he comes back and he's negative and he's fine, then we're all singing and dancing, aren't we? So it's all good.
That's it. And I love the little tagline you threw in there, little Mark. This means more. Did you steal that from Liverpool's website, or just come up with that on your own?
Who are you talking to?
So to Mick there, the Liverpool, this means more. This means more. I like what you just did there. It's gone straight over your head, boys. It's fine. If you don't pay attention to marketing, it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I forgot what I said, to be honest.
It's that cheap Aldi rip-off beer.
Don't diss the Aldi lad, boss.
Love Aldi. Love it. Love Aldi.
So it's a bit of a disciplinary issue, and Klopp's had issues with players like Sacco in the past, and he got rid of them because of such disciplinary issues. Any concerns with him telling Mo to bugger off now?
Watch your mouth out, Matthew.
No chance.
I think Salah and Sacco are completely different players.
Oh yeah,
at the end of the day, Sacco was being a bit of a dick in pre-season, wasn't he? And taking the piss out of Klopp, and you don't take the piss out of your boss, basically, do you? But yeah, no, Mo Salah's going to a family do. At the end of the day, you can't really knock him for it. So, but if he comes back with a negative test, which is supposedly he's already had a negative test, and if he comes back for the UK, he's got a negative test. Forget about it. He plays on Sunday. He bangs a hat trick. Liverpool go top of the table. Thank you very much. Good night.
Fair play. I mean, if he comes back with a negative test, I'm kind of going to be a little bit annoyed because I already took him out of my fantasy team. Swapped him for Mane.
Oh no!
It'll be a little bit.
No!
I did my free hit this week just as a little sampler, because obviously I don't know if he's going to be back in, but loads of injuries in my team, so I've just ripped about 7 of them out for now.
Well, another injury that was definitely out for Sunday's Hendo. How big of a loss is he, Mick?
The biggest loss you can have, really. I mean, obviously Van Dijk is in that bracket as well, but in terms of us being a ticking machine and well-oiled machine, then he is literally the catalyst for it all. So missing him is huge. And I thought, obviously, with the internationals and him saying, he's got a tight hamstring or whatever it was. I thought that was his way of getting out of one of the games, but obviously it turns out it's more than that. But yeah, huge miss. I just hope that he's been a bit coy recently in his interviews, Klopp, in terms of injuries. So I'm hoping, he said, we will see on Thiago and Fabinho. I don't know, maybe they'll both be on the bench. I think that's what will happen. But just having those two in the squad will be great. But yeah, missing Hendo and missing Trent is going to be irreplaceable, really. That's the thing. But we've got a good enough squad to get our way past these next couple of games, and then obviously getting Mo back into the team. If obviously he's positive again when he gets back, then we should be sound. I mean, there's loads of games now. 11. We've got 11, haven't we, until January? So they're going to be flying through these.
Jay?
Yeah, I'm gutted Endo's not playing. I'm always gutted when he's not playing. I think he's there's been a lot of talk about Endo recently, hasn't it, in terms of like how much he actually does for the club, and I think he's started to get that recognition now from outside the Liverpool bubble. So yeah, he'll be a big loss. But like Mick just said, if the way Klopp was just to say that Thiago and Fabinho are doing okay, then we shall see if they start on Sunday. I think if one of them's going to start, it probably would be Fabinho who's going to start Sunday, along with Gini and Milner. That would be my prediction of a midfield three. But if Fabinho and Thiago are both fit, then you chuck them both in the starting lineup. And the good thing about it is with Hendo missing, I think we've still got the cover for the midfield to control the game against Leicester.
You'd have Millie at midfield instead of at right back?
Well, it depends on what he wants to do, because at the end of the day, we don't know whether Nico Williams is fit. We've not had the confirmation on that. And we had the incident last time when Trent had missed a game, and we all thought Millie would get put in, and he ended up putting in Nico Williams anyway. So I'm just going off the history of what Klopp's done, because I got that wrong last time. So I'm just predicting what he's going to do again. But no, mate, obviously, if Millie's at right back, then it leaves a space in the midfield again. But then what to do then? Because if he only wants to put Thiago on the bench, which I don't think he will, I think if Thiago's fit, he's fit. He's fit to start. It's Leicester at home. It's a home game, isn't it? So it's a tough one to call. But I don't know. What would your midfield three be, Matt?
Well, if Thiago's playing, it'd be Thiago, Gini, and Naby. And if Thiago can't play, I'd just have two holding and then go 3-1, and it would be Gini and holding as well. I'd have Milner at right back for the game. What about you, Mick?
Yeah, well, I've just seen a tweet there from David Lynch saying Fabinho has been pictured in team training at Kirby this afternoon. Looks like he'll be ready for Leicester. So that's great news. So it's just it's good that we've got so many options. That's the thing. Like, we've got people who can play in various positions. So if someone gets the team news right, I'll give them 20 quid, because it's going to be so difficult to call like Millie or Nick right back. There's just so many options, and obviously with the loads of injuries we've got, like you might see Shaq in a midfield three at the tip of a diamond, and then a midfield two with, I don't know, Gini and Keita. There's so many variations, and that's why it's good, because we can get our way through these games and then start getting the main fellas back into the team. Like once we've got Thiago back into the team, I think he needs to run a games in the team. Like we've only seen him in bits. I keep forgetting we've got him, to be honest. I keep opening up Twitter and I was like, there he is in his training game. I'm like, oh yeah, we signed him. Keep forgetting we've got him.
Who are you on about?
Oh, not this shit again.
Get Matt there, this shit again.
All right, so we've touched on Fabi and Thiago. One thing that surprised me at Klopp's press conference was he talked about Ox coming back, and I didn't expect that for a while. That shocked you as well, Jay?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. I mean, I know earlier on in the week, if people had watched the new video of the AXA training centre, he was pictured there doing some jumps and some squats and stuff, and yeah, really good to see him back. So if he's close to full fitness again, that's just a massive bonus. And like Mick said, sort of spoiled for choice in that midfield. When we do have the odd injury to the midfielders, and I say the odd injury, fucking hell, we're having them left, right, and centre. Yeah, there's always a decent player to come in. We're never really worried, are we, the way we were at the defensive line, whereas the middle we're sort of okay. But yeah, big positive for the Ox coming back, and I'll be pleased to see him play any minutes for Liverpool, as I always am.
Right.
Yes, can't really add to that. I mean, he's feels like he's been out for a long time, and it's the same as a few other guys in there, like the likes of Kopite, who've had more, like quite a prolonged period before the last injury. But it's just getting these players fit, and it is quite sad that it's going to get to a point where, like, the best thing that Klopp wants out of a player is availability, and if you're not available or most of the time, he might just go, right, I'm going to have to sell and like maybe get someone who's a bit more durable and not going to be sat on the bench or sat on the sidelines with an injury and not playing. And that's like a bit ruthless, but and I like all these players like Oxen, that like you can see he's a great personality and stuff like that Axa training video where he's introducing all like the backstage stuff, behind the scenes stuff. And that's like great, but he's great when he's fit and he's firing, but it's just getting him on the field. That's the main thing. And once he's on there, I think he can be great for us. But it's just once he's fit, it's getting him into the team as well in terms of where do you put him, because I don't know if he can play on this side of a three. I don't know. He could do it, but it's just it's getting him to the stage where you can rely on him to do it week in, week out. And I don't know if you can really. That's the only thing with him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, Jay, you've actually just highlighted it. Martin Barton's made a little comment about Klopp doing a Fergie and stop sending our players away on international duty. Do you think it's going to have to come to that, especially given the length of the season that we're facing and how many injuries everyone's picking up?
Oh God, I hope so, buddy. I really do. I think it was a really good trick of Fergie back in the day. I used to call him for that because back in those days, in the early 90s and early 2000s, I did like England and I enjoyed watching him. So you could tell, and you just think, stop progressing England, Fergie, pack it in. But the older you got, the less you gave a shit, and you're just like, yeah, I think Klopp does need to start doing that. But at the end of the day, it's down to the player as well. The player has the option, and if he wants to play for England, he's going to play for him, and you can't really stop the likes of Jordan Henderson, who loves playing for England. And same with Joe Gomez and Trent. You can't stop them playing for the countries. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I'd love to see it, like Martin said. I think if it got down to it where we were, the back end of the season and we really were challenging for major trophies, I think that's when it would start happening. I think now it's the time. It's okay, but given the way the injuries have happened, obviously everything's happened at once. And for the last couple of years, we've been very good with injuries, and it's karma or whatever, or luck or whatever you want to call it. Some people might say it's creeping up on us now, but you know what, boys, we're actually riding a really good storm here. I was having this conversation this afternoon, and we're doing quite well. They've not conceded a goal in the Champions League. We're top of the group. We're only a point or two off top spot at the minute. That can all change on Sunday. We can make a complete out of the table come Sunday night, which could be absolutely brilliant. And we're doing really, really well considering what's gone on. And if we can ride this wave till January and get these reinforcements in, it's going to be good. We should still be okay given the way the rest of the league's playing as well. So it's I get what Martin's saying, but I do think that we've got now no internationals now for 5 months. I think it is. It should still be okay.
Yeah, like. We've had our injuries, but we've got a good enough squad all around that maybe a couple of years ago we didn't have. Good thing that we signed Shimikas. Good thing that Fabi can play centre back. But going forward, if we lose Salah, that's a big hit. Josh is coming in as well. Mane. What are you doing over there?
Get a beer.
And then Bobby up top. Now, I'm a little bit sick of all the stick that Bobby's getting, right? Because I feel like he's done enough at Liverpool to warrant a bit of a spell, and I think he'll prove himself and come good. What about you, Mick? What do you think?
I think he will, and he's too good not to. That's the thing. Like we all know how good he is, and he gets a lot of stick from. It used to just be opposition fans saying, "Oh, the defensive striker never scores and whatever," and they're not watching a full game of 90 minutes of Liverpool to understand the stuff and the qualities he brings to our game. But you can see that like the little tricks and flicks, he's just low on confidence. I think I don't know if it's a mixture of maybe not being fully there confidence wise and just not having the balls to try stuff. Like he looks like he's scared to maybe try that little flick to like the goal against Newcastle. I think it was last year where Salah plays it into his feet and he controls it and flicks it back heels into Salah's path and Salah scores. Like stuff like that, you expect of him. And no,
but he's scoring for. I'm just playing devil's advocate there with you, Mick. How do you answer the question when he's scoring for Brazil?
Yeah, he is, but I don't know if it's a different system. Do they play two up top? I don't know. It's completely different, isn't it? Like he's asked to drop deep for us, and he's asked to do those dirty jobs that no other striker wants to do in the league. Obviously, he's just one of the people that he's got the energy and that he wants to do that type of job, and he's happy to provide assists and stuff like that. So for me, we've got to persist with him because when he's on top form, he's one of the best in the world by a long way. So for me, I understand the criticism, and it is warranted because he's not been at the races. I think even he'll accept that. And then the fact that Jota's come in and done so well as well, that's put more pressure on him in a way because it's created this debate, Jota or Firmino, which I think you can play both really. I think they've both proved that. But if we can get Jota and Firmino in form with the other two fellas on the wing, I can't wait for that day against whoever we play because they're going to get smashed 5-6-0.
Yeah, I agree with that, mate. And like I said, if push comes to shove and Salah isn't playing on Sunday, obviously it's always disappointing when Mo Salah doesn't play. But you've got the front three then of Firmino, Jota, and Mane. So again, I'm like, I'll sleep easy Saturday night. Excuse me.
Like at the start of the week, I was all doom and gloom when all these injuries were coming in, but then I've looked at it and the defense. Defense is going to be weakened, but I think I've been blowing this trumpet for the last 3 weeks. As long as Alisson's fit, I'm confident enough with whatever defense we put out there because he'll be there marshalling them. And then from midfield forward, we've got plenty of midfield backup, whether it's Naby coming back in from the fray, because I don't know what's wrong with him because he's fit, but he's just not playing. We've got Shaq that's made a bit of a resurgence. The front three, whether it's Salah or Jota, it's still one of the best front threes in the Premier League. So I'm quite confident because you were talking to one of the Leicester guys this week and they've got their injuries too.
Yeah, I think Fofana's 50-50, I think, and I think they've got a few of the guys out. But yeah, it's just getting these fellas back onto the pitch. That's the thing, and we've been riding. Like I think in recent times we've been quite lucky with injuries. I think I've said this before. Like our front three never really get injured, and the fact that we've had all these injuries recently is, I don't know, obviously a congested fixture list. The fact that this season's condensed, it was bound to happen. But once we get them back, I think we'll be sound. Obviously, we just need to get, like you said, Naby Keita needs to get in the team, and then I keep forgetting about Minamino. To be honest, like he was probably our best player in pre-season. He had a few games in like the cup games and stuff, a few runs out, and I think he hasn't been in the squad the last couple of games. I think it's been between him and Origi, like dropping out, who's like the 7th sub. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's a tactic issue. He wants Origi on the bench rather than, I don't understand it, but I would like to see Minamino get a few more minutes in the near future, especially with 11 games coming up and thick and fast. We're going to need to use all of them.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Ian Thompson's just said, would you not like to see 2 CDM players? And yes, I'd love to see that. If Thiago is not playing, then I think 2 CDMs is the way to go. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I like when you said it at the top of the podcast when you've got to mess around with the formation, and I think we saw that over the past couple of months, haven't we? Where Klopp has sort of played around with the formation because he just knew that these injuries probably would be having a big effect on us. But Jota's that type of player that could play within that midfield three with sort of a old school Championship manager free role thing, and then Bobby could play behind the other front three as well. So it's a great option and one I'd like to see, because at the end of the day, when you are changing things up, it can give the opposition a bit of a headache of like, oh, hang on, what the fuck are they doing here? And it's always good because obviously we've played a certain way for 2 years. That's won us some amazing games and got us the 2 biggest trophies in the world. But it's always nice to change it up, especially at home as well. I mean, I know with the crowds at the minute, it doesn't really make a difference, but I still think it makes a difference in terms of where you're playing. So yeah, like Tom Mills just said, I would like to see 2 CDM players and have Bobby behind Jota, and then you're getting all 4 on the pitch then. So yeah, it will be quite nice.
I mean, I'm kind of half expecting to be a sort of front 4, if you will, of getting everyone in, even if it's not Salah, maybe Shaq in that role, just because even though we've got Alisson there, it's still not a full strength defense, and I'm not sure if Klopp's going to revert to Liverpool of a few years ago will just outscore you. And if Brendan Rodgers comes into this with the mindset at which he had when he was in charge of Liverpool and we played Chelsea, we're just going to go and smash you, then it could play into our hands. It does get a bit tricky if he goes pragmatic like he did against City. And I think he was against Arsenal as well, where he got some good results. It's definitely, it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be really tight and really scrappy, or it's going to be a goal fest. I'm leaning towards it being a goal fest. What about you, Mick?
I think so. I mean, I looked at the recent fixtures, like the last couple of games we played, and it's like 4-0, like 2-1, 3-1, 2-2. It's always goals. And I think the last one was the last clean sheet between Liverpool and Leicester was like 2000. Well, obviously dropped out of the Premier League, so there's a bit of a gap there. But there always seems to be goals in these games, and I think Klopp versus Brendan Rodgers, they're both attacking-minded managers, and especially with that, like they've got good firepower there at the good end of the pitch that they need to score goals. Like Vardy's got 8 so far this season. They've got Maddison and Tielemans. They've got good fullbacks. And obviously, they usually play 3 at the back now, but I think Fofana's a doubt, like we said. So if he's out, that's a big loss for them because he's a good ball-playing centre-half, and he can, like, not going to compare it to Van Dijk, but in terms of, like, playing out from the back, he adds a layer of, like, assurance to their back line. So if he's not in, all the better for us because we can get in behind a bit quicker. And I think they play, like, Fuchs on the left of a back 3 as well. So if Mane's on the right coming up against them, Jesus Christ, he's going to have an absolute field day. So it's just those little battles all over the pitch that it's going to be won and lost. I think midfield will be quite tight. It's just whether Brendan Rodgers, obviously coming to Anfield, he'll probably want to sit back and be quite reserved and like feel the way into the game. Obviously play balls to Vardy into the left channels and right channels, see what happens. Yeah. It all depends if Fabinho plays centre back or not. And if Millie plays right back or not, it's literally all dependent. Because if Millie's on the right, Vardy's going to go left channel every time and try and skin him for pace, which he will. So that's the worry. So it's going to be those minute details we're going to have to look at. That the game can be won and lost there in a split second when you've got the likes of Vardy on the pitch and Maddison, who's got quality just to flick a ball over the top and get Vardy in behind. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Honestly, it's gonna. I know, like the international break's feels like it's been months, and you're always just clamouring for a bit of club footy. But the fact that Leicester versus Liverpool at Anfield, and they're leading the league, if we win, we go top. There's no better way to do it.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Can't say any more than that, Paul. I am worried about Jamie Vardy though. I always am. He likes playing against Liverpool, so he's
at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks really good. So it's going to be interesting. I don't see it being a goal fest. I really don't. I think both teams have just from a caution perspective, but maybe I'm just being a bit of a negative Nancy at the minute because I'm just desperate for us to try and keep a clean sheet in the league with this defence, like, you know what I mean, because of the way things are. And I just think it'll up the confidence and all that sort of stuff. So I am worried about it. But I think both teams will be cagey because I think the mistake that Leicester made last season is when they were second at Christmas and they let that drop off and they didn't finish in the top 4 was absolutely just one of the biggest bottle jobs of the Premier League. And that's not, it's not being totally harsh there and slagging Leicester off. I just think if you're second at Christmas, you should be finishing in the top 4. And then you're going to get loads of Man United fans commenting on that, saying, well, if you're top at Christmas, you should be winning the league, and you didn't do that 3 out of the 4 times. You know what I mean? Fuck off. But what I'm saying is that they'll have that motivation now to not make that mistake again. So if they can try and get a draw at Anfield and keep that point and then keeping that top 4 and picking points off the big boys, that's why I think it might be a little bit cagey. I don't know what you boys think about that. Am I talking out my ass as per usual, or is it a good point? I don't know.
I mean, a little bit. No, I think I can see the logic of because Brendan Rodgers, when he's played the 6, shall we say, he has gone with a more pragmatic approach of we're going to sit back, we're going to soak up the pressure, and then when you're tired, we're going to hit you. The only reason that I can see him not doing that is because, one, we'll have a weakened back line, and secondly, maybe it's just to prove a point of, well, you guys sacked me, well, now I'm going to go and thump you. And I really do think that if he has the second approach, the one of we're going to come and get you, that's going to play right into our hands. What about you? What were you going to say, Mick?
It's hard. Like, I'd be very surprised if it's 0-0. Like, I just imagine, like, you look at their lineup. If they play three at the back, they've got quite a bit of, like, I look at the last game against Wolves. They were 1-0. They had like some guy called Thomas. He's like a youth product. I think he's 19. You've got Fofana, who's good, but he's still a kid as well. There's quite a bit of youth over the pitch, and there's not many defensive-minded players there. Like Maddison and Tielemans want to get forward. You've got Pratt wants to get forward. Vardy obviously is everywhere. And then you've got obviously Mendy, who's trying to be like a Kante, trying to sweep up after him. But I think I'm not saying that they've got only one way to play, but I feel like they've got various ways of playing, but the best way they can do it is going forward. I think if they try and play like counter-attacking, I think we'll wear them down eventually. I think that's what it is. And then once we get one, then they come out, it plays right into our hands, and we'll probably score some more. It's just the thing is keeping Vardy quiet. Like if it's Fab and Matip at the back, I will be like having a huge sigh of relief in terms of not conceding. Like I always think we're going to concede nowadays, but I'll feel a lot more assured if we've got those two at the back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you completely. That's no slight on Nat Phillips, of course, as he played very well when he came into the side. But there's something about Fabinho that obviously is of at least calms us down a little bit more than Nat Phillips. Now, Ian Thompson again, he said, "Why do you think none of the big four have ever tried to get Vardy?" Well, I don't think he fits into the City system. Don't think he fits in the Liverpool system. So that's why I don't think we ever went for him. But it is a good question, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, mate. To be fair, before Tom said it, I was thinking about it, and like I think he had his chance when Arsenal came in for him, and he didn't go, and he decided to sign a new deal instead with Leicester. And I think it was the summer after they won the league, wasn't it? So he hadn't played Champions League football with Leicester, and I think that's something he wanted to do, and give it a good go in there. And to be fair to them, they did do quite well in the Champions League. Because it was the debut season in there, they did really well. But I think that was sort of like, I think Vardy thought, well, we're Champions League football this season. We've won the league last year. This might be the catalyst now to buy those types of players that can keep us in the top four. And I think that's probably what it was. I think he had the chance, and then the rest of the top four were like, right, he's loyal to Leicester. He's not going anywhere, and that's it. And then obviously Leicester just started dropping off season by season then. And I just think that's the reason why. And as well as he doesn't suit any styles, but he had his chance to go to Arsenal and he didn't do it. And then they've moved on. Chelsea have moved on now. They've got different players. Tottenham, we'll see him playing for Tottenham because they've got the players for it. He had his chance and he didn't take it. To be fair, if he'd gone to Arsenal, he wouldn't have won anything. At the end of the day, he might have been there for a couple of years and then he might have gone again because, it's like they've changed managers quite a few times. And if you're Jamie Vardy, the way his story is, I mean, as much as I'm not really a fan of him as a person or anything like that, but, it's his story in football is fantastic in the way he came up. And, it's really, really good. And it's a good story to tell. And he'll play his career, rest of his career at Leicester. He'll have won the Premier League and he'll be a legend at Leicester for the rest of his career. And I think that's worth its weight in gold. Typical, like what Alan Shearer did. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I also think there's a bit of an aspect of every season, everyone sort of expecting Vardy to drop off. And he just hasn't. He's just kept going. He's kept going. And he is definitely one of the most lethal strikers in the Premier League and definitely someone that I'm worried about on Sunday. But funnily enough, there's someone that I'm worried about just a little bit more than Vardy. And he probably won't start. He'll probably come off the bench, and that's Cengiz Under, that little Turkish winger they've got on loan from Roma. And he terrifies me because he's got a bit of quality coming off the bench, and he's assisted Vardy twice. I think it was against City and against Arsenal, like both big teams where they've sat back and then hit them. And he's like their Shaq. He just comes on, does a bit of magic, and all of a sudden, Leicester have another goal. And he'll play in that little that hole between like our midfield and our defense. And with Van Dijk not there, that's going to be an issue to try and control in Mick.
I think so. Like the thing is, like I said it yesterday when I done the pod with Neil, the Leicester, like one of the big Leicester fans. Like he's having no Van Dijk and no Gomez and no Trent it is literally the best time to be playing Liverpool. Like what Martin said here, we'll see how brave Brendan is. Never had a better chance of getting at the Liverpool defence at Anfield. I agree with that completely. Like it all depends exactly how Martin says how brave he's going to be. He knows we're missing three of our main back four. That is huge. In any team in world football, you take the main three out of the back four, then you're bound to struggle. So it literally is dependent on like those little pockets of space. If Fab and Matip are at the back, we've got Milner right back, Robbo. That should be good enough to beat Leicester, in my opinion. If we've then got if Thiago's fit, like Jay said, if Thiago's fit, is past fit, he's got to start. And I imagine if he starts, it'll be a 3. And if we've got him in there, he's literally the metronome. He'll keep the ball for us no matter what. He won't lose it at all. So it's those little things that we need to go in our favour for once. And Klopp's been very coy, but getting Fab in there and Thiago will be huge in a game like this where it can change on a knife edge. We just need it to go our way, and we need the players that we've been waiting for to come back into the team like Thiago, because it feels like an age since we've seen him. I just can't wait to see him playing again.
Yeah, I mean, if his little cameo against Chelsea was anything to go by, then I can't wait for him to get back in the team. So, Jay, what's your little predicted 11 then? What you think we're going to line up with? Give me a best case scenario and realistic.
Oh God! Right. Well, it's got to be Alisson in goal, Robbo, Matip and Nat Phillips at the back, and then probably Milner at right back, because you jogged my memory about that, mate. So that might happen, but then Nick Williams. So and then a midfield 3 of Fabinho, Thiago, and Gini. I think that's what it'll be. And then the normal front 3 if Salah is allowed. If not, you just a straight swap for Jota, and then switch Jota and Mane across. That's about it. But again, it's not easy anymore to pick a Liverpool 11 this season. It's been easy for 2.5 years, and you can't do it at the minute. So that's me. But I just don't know.
Mick?
Yeah, it's so hard to call, honestly. Like I can't. It's all dependent on if Fab's fit, like you said, it'll probably be Phillips at the back with Matip, and then having Fab in front of the back 4, sitting a bit deeper just to provide a bit of defensive cover for Phillips. Obviously, he looks good for me. I think he looked good in his passing as well. I think it came up against Haller, who he's great in the air, and he done well against him. Coming up against the Vardy, it's completely different beast. He's got to be quick over the ground, and I don't know how quick he is because I haven't seen enough of him. Like that's the thing. Like some of these big fellas, you think they're bound to be slow, but look at Van Dijk. He's like an absolute Usain Bolt when he gets going. So is Gomez. So we'll see if he starts tomorrow. I obviously hope he smashes it, but we'll see. But he's really strong in the tackle, like Fabinho is. So having both of them in the team might go in our favour as well. So go Alisson in goal, obviously. Millie right back. Phillips and Matip, Robbo, Fab. If Thiago's fit, obviously he goes in there. Gini, and then the front 3. Obviously, then like Jay said, I think it's literally the same as yours, Jay. To be honest, so I'll just stick to that.
I think I've gone a little bit different. So I've gone Alisson, Robbo, Matip, Fabi, and Milner at the back. Then I'll have Gini in holding, even though he manages to score so many goals for Holland, but Klopp obviously prefers him in a more workhorse-like role for us. And then in front of him, have hopefully they're fit, Naby and Thiago. Just because I remember when we signed Naby, Klopp saying Naby, Keita, and Thiago were the best midfielders in the world, and we've managed to get one of them. Well, now he's got both of them. I'd like to see them play together, just because Naby's more dribble and get at you, and Thiago is more just play the ball about. So it'd be an interesting dynamic as well with Gini holding. And then I'd go Mane, Bobby, and Jota. Yeah, that's my hopeful 11. mean, it'd be
Again,
great.
any of them, I'd be happy with any of them. They're both brilliant. You know what I mean? Again, you've got to look at the way you say it like that. It gives you the confidence of going, do you know what? That can beat Leicester. It really can.
Yeah.
So I think we need to stop maybe worrying about it too much, considering what players are starting to come back now. And I think we can cope. We definitely got the squad to cope with. There won't be as many clean sheets and there won't be as many clear-cut performances and stuff like that. But when it comes from a balance, our attack and our midfield, once we get the ball, we'll be absolutely fine going forward. We'll always be able to get someone on the counter-attack, and I just don't think we've got to worry too much about our defence because it's proved over the last couple of weeks that it's been pretty decent at holding off some really gritty teams like the likes of West Ham, Sheffield, City. We've done quite well, and I do think we'll be okay, especially with our forward six, if you like, going forward. Stating the obvious.
Well, we've had a starting 11 come in from one of my mates, Alex Hickson, and I wouldn't be confident if we went out with that.
Alex.
I wouldn't be confident with that team, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's a shout throwing Jones in there, isn't it? Because again, Jones has been decent this season, but he's not had the run of games that you're thinking at. I think if Fabinho is fit, I do think he goes in. But like Alex has just said, if you've not got Fabinho and Thiago and they're both on the bench, is it an opportunity for Jones? Because he's got some tricks up his sleeve.
He does have some tricks up his sleeve, and I am a big fan of Curtis Jones. I think we've talked about it before. We've definitely talked about it before that he's had his chances this season, but he hasn't taken them like he took them last season. I'm not sure if you'd agree, Mick.
Yeah, I think there's in the early part of the season when we had a few cup games, he looked more assured of what he was doing. Like on the ball, he knew, right, I'm going to get this, take a couple of people on, play it inside, have a shot and score. And he scored a couple of goals, didn't he? Done well. And then he got thrown into the Ajax game?
Yeah.
He started and we were all like, fucking hell, really? And then obviously it's not a criticism. He's obviously great, and if Klopp's putting him in there, it says a lot that he rates him. But he was trying too hard with stuff like forcing 1-2s that went on, and then he had to chase back, and he could have scored off it, and that would have looked well. He would have got ripped on Twitter if Tom go on Twitter, Curtis Jones, if you make a mistake, mate, fucking hell. But no, I've got no doubt of his ability. Honestly, he's still 19. He's getting picked by, for me, the best manager in the world to go into a midfield 3, which is it could be the hardest position to go in on the side of a 3. The work you've got to do, and he obviously wants Curtis to get forward as well. So there's a lot of pressure on him to perform, and I think he's done well. In terms of how old he is, he's still a baby. He's got loads of progression to do. But I wouldn't be if he was picked on Sunday, I wouldn't be like, oh fucking hell, why is he picking him? I think I said to you, Matt, the other day, I text you saying it might be a chance for Jones to start. I said that, and you were like, oh, what about Shaq? And I was like, oh yeah, actually, what about Shaq? So I think it is. If there's no Fabinho or Thiago, it will be one of them, I think. But it just depends if he wants to go midfield 3 with Curtis Jones on the right in the Hendo position, where he likes to take up that position on the pitch anyway, so that suits him. Or he wants to go double pivot in front of a back 4 to nullify Vardy and then have a Shaq just roaming ahead of. So it literally all depends on that. But I wouldn't be worried about Curtis Jones. I've got no qualms about his ability. For me, he's going to be great. We just need to give him a bit of time. Trent 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we were like, he's great and he can be great, but he just needs the time, and it's the exact same with Curtis Jones. It's just getting him down to a position where we can see him playing properly. I think he's a victim of his own versatility, I think, because he could play really anywhere. He's quite versatile. He's got a broad range of skills. It's just trying to fit him into a certain role, and once he's got that, he'll absolutely fly.
Uh-huh. I'm just thinking, I'm surprised that we've talked about a lot of variations to the back 4 and a lot of different cover for Trent, in terms of Millie and Nico. And I haven't really heard shifting Robertson to right back and playing Shimikas at left back. Would you consider that? Or would you just bin that idea right off?
I've never seen Robbo on his right foot on that side. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've ever seen him on the right side. I know he can use his right foot, but he mainly always uses left. So I wouldn't even entertain that. I wouldn't even entertain. I think I'd rather have Milner at right back than Robertson at right back for the sake of that. Yeah, I just don't think that should be discussed.
The only time I see him there is when we have a corner and Trent and Robbo I switch like temporarily, but you can see them looking over each other going.
Yeah, that's Well, we're getting to the 40-minute mark. It's quite a long podcast, so we'll start wrapping up. If you could both give me your key point, like where is the game going to be won and lost? One place. Jay, go.
Up front.
Which one?
Sounds very stupid. Who's our front line? Whoever scores more goals, I do think we'll concede. And again, it's a very stupid, obvious commentator thing to say. Whoever scores more goals is going to win. That's obvious. But I do think that we never said that. I don't know. You know, I'm like I'll banter anybody who slags off my Michael. I don't mean you, Mick. But no, again, it does sound stupid, doesn't it? It does. But what I mean by that is because we've got the better front line, we will win the game because of that. That's where it's going to be won, is through our counter-attacking and our players being on form and a Bobby Firmino hat-trick. There we go.
Ooh. Okay, Mick.
What Jay said, see above.
We have to be careful, though. We just got to be careful, haven't we?
Yeah, it's obviously Vardy is the main threat because he will more than likely score. But we're waiting for the game for Bobby to go right. Fuck this and fuck the Lawyers. This is my position. It's mine, and we know he's capable of it. It's just I don't know. He needs the confidence for me, and I think once he gets maybe a couple of goals, he'll go on a bit of a run. But it's just finding that form, and I do feel a bit bad for him because his bad form has then coincided with Jota coming in and banging like 400 goals in like 5 games. So it's more pressure, and it's just getting that confidence back. But once he does, I can't wait for it because a lot of shit's been flying his way from a lot of Liverpool fans, and I think it's warranted slightly, but you've got to have the big picture in mind. Like, you can't just go, right, Salah's just scored 100 goals in 100 games, right? He's not scored in 5, let's get rid of him. It doesn't work like that. Like, you've got to stick behind him and go, right, he's got that quality, we know he has. It's going to come back eventually, and it's just having a bit of patience, which isn't a word no one uses on Twitter, I understand that, but once he's flying again, we'll be flying again. And he is literally he's literally our catalyst, so if he's in good form, we'll be in good form. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think, like I said at the top of the podcast, I think Firmino's done brilliantly for us. I think he is the guy that makes the team stick together, makes our attack stick together, and he will come good. For some reason, I've got a feeling it's going to be. I'm not going to go as far to say hat trick, but I'm going to say 2 goals, and I think the key battle is how we deal with Under coming on off the bench. If you look at Leicester against Arsenal, you look at Leicester against City, they were on the back foot until he came on, and that's when their focus shifted to now we're going to get at you, and that's when they did the damage. So I feel like when he comes on,
has he paid you to like?
Nah, he's scary, man. Scary coming off the bench. All right, so last thing before we wrap up, very quickly, quick fire score predictions. Mick, go. Not very quickly.
No, 3-1. 3-1 to Liverpool.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna go 3-1 when I had too many whole gardens and did a thingy hat trick. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool. I thought it was gonna be cagey, so I'm going 2-1.
I'm gonna go. Well, my predictions are always wrong, so I've got no pressure on here. 5-4 Liverpool.
I hope so, mate. I hope so.
All right.
Listen, I'd love to watch a 5-4 as long as we're 5 up. That's where I would prefer that.
I'd hate that. If we're 5-0 up and they go 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, nah. I'd rather us be losing 3-0 and then the other way around.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah. Oh, mate, that's how you lose your hair. You don't want that shit.
Well, this has
Good
been...
shout, boys. Good shout.
podcast, and we're going to be back on Sunday after the match to see how it goes, to discuss the 5-4. So I want to thank Jay and Mick for being on. You've been great guests.
Thank you.
Thanks. Big shout out to Tomo for jumping on as well, and for Martin Barton, obviously, as well. And then we want to thank Alex Hickson as well, for jumping on as well.
Thanks, Alex.
Nice one, Alex. So thanks, Matthew. Thanks for having us on. Hope you don't mind us having us on again on Sunday.
I consider it.
Right, boys. Catch you all later.
Bye.